Sneako is a really good example of like, I can tell you probably most of your thoughts, most of your thinking, and most of the mistakes you're about to make, and you're gonna make them. Like, I can tell you're gonna make them just because I was very similar to him. Even in an older age, I was similar to him. But I know that like, he's probably not in the state of mind to listen to anything that I have to say. He probably views me as either a sellout or just old and out of touch. And it's like, okay, whatever. If I were to be like trying to legitimately give him feedback and advice and shit, MrGirl is interesting to me because he has like a whole way of viewing the world. I disagree with a lot of it, but I always think it's interesting when there are people with like wholly comprehensive views of like, this is how I've put together my understanding of the world. Lav was interesting because she's reasonably intelligent. People call her dumb for her, but she's not. I mean, like, I've listened to a lot of really stupid people and women talk before. Lav is not a stupid person, not even close. So it's interesting to listen to somebody like her who's having like a dramatic change in her life, try to figure out what she wants her life to look like next. That like transitionary process is really interesting to me. What?
Hi, long time no talk.
I'm triggered as fuck today, so you're on a short leash, okay? Don't fuck up.
What? Okay. I was just gonna, there was a couple of things I wanted to talk to you about.
Okay, number one, turn your mic down 20%, okay? It's too loud and I'm not gonna adjust you, all right?
Okay.
Also, how's life going? How have you been? It's been a long time since you've been on the internet world.
Yeah, is this okay? I just lowered it, but
yeah, this is fine. That's totally fine, no problem.
Okay. My life has been okay. I just graduated, so now I'm just sending resumes everywhere, and hoping for the best.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I just wanted to ask you, well, I know like you have a lot of drama going on, and every single time like I pop in, it sounds like more drama is happening. So I guess all I just wanted to ask you was, do you know what Darvo is? Have you ever heard of that?
What?
Darvo.
Why do you bring this up?
Because it sounds like something that's like constantly happening to you, like on stream, and I just like I don't know.
Am I on the couch? Am I on Rexfield's couch right now? I can't tell if you're fucking with me or not. Are you fucking with me?
Your 2-minute warning.
I'm not fucking with you. It sounds like every single time like somebody else is on stream where they're like.
No, yeah, I know. I just screamed to my audience about this for like 5 minutes. Yeah, I just brought this up. That my advice to people is that like, if you feel like you're constantly arguing with somebody and every time you go in, you're upset, but you feel like at the end of the conversation, it's always your fault, you're probably either getting Darvoed or you've got some problems you need to work out. But yeah, I noticed that I would say that like Max and Lav are two people that are exceptionally good at this, where if you ever have a complaint with them, they always flip it around and somehow it's actually your fault for the reasons why, yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I asked if you were trolling because I literally just talked about this like 10 minutes ago, so I wasn't sure if you were with me or not.
No. And then, okay, well, as long as you got that down, and I guess the second thing, or maybe third thing, I don't know. The second thing is like, if you're taking like suggestions for how to make your channel more woman friendly, I have a couple if you want to hear them.
Go for it. I'll consider them.
Okay. So I just think that when it comes to like this can go two ways. One of them is that if there's like criticisms about like how women look, I think that's like kind of weird.
Almost every single comment relating to appearance is super fucking weird. Even the positive ones are really weird. Like if a girl comes on to speak and be like, "Oh my God, mommy titties" or whatever, it's like always like, what? Like why? Like, yeah, I agree. Even good and bad comments, I think, are both like equally bad. It just makes it like super alienating. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the second thing is, it's definitely okay for people to have negative criticisms about people in the sense of like, oh, I just think this person is annoying or whatever. But I think when it comes to women, those comments are very disproportional than when it comes towards men. So maybe forcing people to be specific about their criticism if they're going to say a statement like that, because then otherwise you just get like a bunch of comments being like, oh, this woman is annoying, or, you know, like, I don't like her. Mm-hmm. But really the criticisms, there's nothing really more there, or they wouldn't be saying the same thing if a guy was saying what I think said.
I understand what you're saying there. I disagree a little bit. I think people make vague criticisms of men as well. But yeah, I do try to push people to like, if you're going to criticize somebody, like try to be a little bit more specific about it, because otherwise there's like nothing to like, there's nothing to critically engage with, and then it just comes off as people being dumb. Yeah. But yeah, I do agree that that's kind of annoying.
Yeah. And I guess the last thing is, this is a weird question, but do you think like the people you're talking to are genuinely interested in being better, or do you think they're kind of using that as like a, and maybe I'm just projecting here because I went through something similar this summer. So and it's like a lesson I recently learned. So I'm just like wondering if like this is what's happening, if they're kind of using it as a way to intentionally or unintentionally try to control you or your actions or something like that.
Control me. I don't think most people are interested in genuinely improving themselves. No, I think that most people are, at the very most, it feels like most people are interested in improving the ways that other people see them, but I don't think that most people are that interested in genuine self-improvement. Something that I said yesterday is, this is one of the reasons why, like, I'll bring on people for chatting and I'll give advice to people, but I never try to play like the role of like a mentor, because if I was like legitimately trying to offer advice or mentor people and they weren't listening to me at all, I would go ape shit. Do you know anything about like the Sneako person?
I've heard very little. Like I know that he is sexist, I think, and like that's basically
boring.
all I know.
Level 1 engagement. But probably not also entirely wrong. But like Sneako is a really good example of like, I can tell you probably most of your thoughts, most of your thinking, and most of the mistakes you're about to make, and you're going to make them. Like I can tell you're going to make them, just because I was very similar to him. Even in an older age, I was similar to him. But I know that like he's probably not in the state of mind to listen to anything that I have to say. He probably views me as either a sellout or just old and out of touch. And it's like, okay, whatever. If I were to be like trying to legitimately give him feedback and advice and shit, and he were to be like ignoring me the whole time, I would lose my fucking mind. So yeah, I don't view most people as trying to genuinely super self-improve. I think that especially online, to be fair, online, it's really hard to self-improve as well, because you've got like 1,000 people calling you a dumb fuck for 52 different reasons, and you kind of feel like you want to fight back a little bit. And yeah, it's a hard one. It's hard to self-improve in the public eye. I'm sure you've probably felt that even for as much as you stream, you probably felt that a little bit.
Oh yeah, no, I think part of the reason why I stopped streaming is because I was getting like inundated with so much hate, and then it was so hard to sift through what was
legitimate criticisms
real
versus like, these people are just f***ing haters.
Yeah, and then I started kind of using that in a really bad way, because then I started like using all the negative comments to reinforce negative thoughts I already had. It was bad.
Yeah.
But then I guess like when it comes to like the whole like Lav and like MrGirl thing and all that stuff, like what do you think, or I guess like I don't want to be like, what's the purpose of the conversation? Because you don't need to have a purpose for every conversation. Like that's
so. MrGirl is interesting to me because he has like a whole way of viewing the world. I disagree with a lot of it, but I always think it's interesting when there are people with like wholly comprehensive views of like, this is how I've put together my understanding of the world. That's always interesting to me. I enjoy talking to people that have that figured out, even if I disagree with a lot of how they view things. So that's why I enjoy talking to MrGirl. For Lav was interesting because she's reasonably intelligent. People call her dumb for good, but she's not. I mean, like, I've listened to a lot of really fucking stupid people and women talk before. Lav is not a stupid person, not even close. So it's interesting to listen to somebody like her who's having like a dramatic change in her life, try to figure out what she wants her life to look like next. That like transitionary process is really interesting to me. So that's why I talked to Lav. I'm just kind of curious to watch somebody like walk through that and work through that process.
Yeah. And do you feel like they're trying to get something out of you when you guys talk, or do you think they're just trying to like work through these things with you?
It's pretty rare that I'll make like really negative assumptions about people trying to get stuff out of me. It's usually pretty easy for me to tell when they are. Like, if Lav wanted to milk me or my community for more fame, there are a million different things that she could do. I don't think she's that type of person.
Yeah, I don't think it's fame. I think, well, who am I to put my judgment? I don't really know them either very well, but from like an outsider perspective, I guess, or somebody who's only like dipped a little bit, I just feel like they both have very strong narcissistic tendencies, and just maybe what they're trying to get is just to get people to view them in the light that they want to be viewed.
Yeah, probably a little bit, but that's like that's superhuman and super normal, right? Yeah. Like, you always want people to view you in a way that you view yourself. And again, like I said before, there's and you know this, there's like the added difficulty of trying to figure yourself out while everybody else is telling you who you are is an exceptionally challenging thing to do, almost impossible for most people, especially at a young age, especially based on your life circumstances. So like, yeah, it's a really hard thing to figure out on the fly. That's why, unlike my audience, I'm usually willing to extend a lot of like charitability to people that are going through that process. I'm not here to judge you or tell you that you're a fucking moron. I'll say like, hey, you probably shouldn't do this, or this is kind of dumb or whatever, but I won't generally pass harsh judgment on those people until they start accusing me of being way too harsh on them. The only time I'll ever get triggered is I don't mind getting fucked, but I'm not gonna get fucked from both ends. I can't handle that. If my community wants to fuck me because I'm being too charitable towards somebody, okay, fine, whatever, I don't give a fuck. I know why you guys think the things you do, and I'm not here to change your mind on that. You don't have to find the same people interesting that I find interesting. It's my fucking stream. You don't like it, don't watch. But when the other person starts fucking me while my community's fucking me, now I'm gonna fuck somebody back. So I'm either gonna go nuclear my community and start banning 3,000 fucking people, or more likely, I'm gonna look at the other person and go, okay, listen up, motherfucker. I understand that you live in your world and you only have your perspective, but you need to understand that like I have put my reputation, my integrity, and my mental health on the line quite a bit, like sifting through a lot of dog shit opinions in my community and really sticking up for you, fighting you. And now if you're going to tell me I'm not doing it and my community's going to tell me I'm doing it too much, well, now I'm about to pick a side. It's probably not going to be yours because it's easier to like shit on one person that's being, in my opinion, unreasonable versus going through and banning a whole bunch of people in my fucking community. Yeah.
Okay,
Sorry, that was a lot. Yeah.
No, that's not a lot. I'm just happy that you're able to have some boundary drawn and everything, because then otherwise it's like, holy fuck, like where do you draw the line? But it's good that you have a place where you draw the line, so that makes me happy and like a little bit like less worried.
Yeah, no, I generally like I have a realistic expectation of like where everybody is in my life. It's like if most of my online friends are like, oh, we all hate Destiny, blah, blah, like it's not gonna bother me. It's whatever. You know, at this point, I don't care. There'd be like a couple where I'd be like, damn, really? But no, for the most part, it's whatever.
This is gonna kind of sound like it's from left field, but it's also been something I've been wondering when it comes to all these interactions. And I guess it's, what would it mean for you, or do you consider these people friends? Or if you do, like, what does it mean to be like a good friend for you?
I don't know the answer to that. In terms of like people being friends, there's like friends and there's like friendly-ish. It's really hard to figure out how much anybody is because I'd have to see how they interact with a bunch of other people too. So like Max, I would hope at this point, I would consider like Max my friend. For somebody like Lav, I would consider it to be hopefully past friendly, but I don't know if it's at the friend stage because I don't know how she interacts with everybody. It might be the case that there's like 1,000 people that she interacts with in the same capacity that she interacts with me. So it would be silly for me like, oh yeah, we're friends. And then in her mind, she's like, okay, yeah, I mean, I talk to him like privately sometimes, but like I wouldn't consider us friends. So I don't know. I would consider Lav to be like a little bit past friendly. Brittany, I would consider to be a friend. The difficult part for me personally in terms of figuring out like friends and relationships is that I typically ask for almost nothing. So when you ask me like, what do you expect out of friends? I really have no expectations, and I don't usually make very many asks for people because it's just the kind of person I am. I usually sift through most stuff on my own.
So do you not have an expectation of, not even a friend, like defining friend, but what it means to be a good friend? Like what qualities does a person, or do like your closest friend, let's say, have that you're like, oh, this makes them good. This makes them like a good friend.
My bar for that is if somebody is willing to stick their neck out for you when it's not socially advantageous for them to do so, I would consider that person to be an exceptionally good friend. That quality is incredibly rare. And I see a few people do it on Twitter. Melina did it for me in person once. I thought it was really surprising because I don't generally place that expectations on me. When somebody's willing to stick their hat out for you when there's probably like stuff to lose, that's to me is like a signal of like, oh, you're an exceptionally good friend. So like when I look at some people, so like what's frustrating, I say frustrating, but it's kind of my expectation. So like when people are kind of friendly towards me, but then when they're in any other environment, they're shit talking me. It's like, oh, okay, well, I guess, you know, it is what it is. But that's kind of I guess I expect that behavior from people, but that's kind of sad sometimes, I think.
Yeah, that is kind of sad. So with that same line of thought, I know you said like the only time that you'll like, or I guess like the boundary that so far it seems you have is if someone is shit talking you while, or yeah, basically going around shit talking you while you're defending them, right? That's like not acceptable to you.
Yeah, kind of. If I'm going like out of my way to help somebody in a way and they're like shitting at me, usually at that point a switch will flip in my head and I'll like, I'm done with this motherfucker. Or at the very least, like I'm not going to be nice towards this motherfucker anymore. So if they start doing dumb shit, I'm going to Omega call them out on it.
Is there any other qualities where you might not do that, but you would still consider this person like a bad friend, or nah?
What do you mean by that?
Like let's say they're not like shit talking you behind your back or whatever. This is hard because you said that you don't expect a lot of things from people.
Mm-hmm. My emotional needs and everything are very, very, very low. So like it's hard to like I don't expect friends to like be there for me or anything like that because I handle all my stuff on my own.
Have you ever thought of, or do you see no need for it? Because I was gonna ask, have you ever thought about wanting to change that or not?
Yeah, I've tried it before, and it's like I guess it's nice talking to people about problems, but like I generally like most of the situations that I'm in are. This sounds cringe because usually when people say this, it's not true, but for me, I think it generally is true. Most of the situations I'm in are like incredibly exceptional circumstances or situations, so it's kind of hard to get feedback from people that that's valuable. Like I don't know who would I ask questions about? Like I can't. Like just because you're older doesn't necessarily mean you'll know anything about like online shit. Just because you've got experiences doesn't necessarily mean I'll agree with your perspective. Like I think for the most part of my life, I do pretty well like relying on my own like interpretation of things, and I just like keep doing that, I guess. Yeah. But I mean, who's to say at some point in the future maybe that would change?
Yeah, this is gonna sound kind of cringe and stuff. But do you think part of you might be scared to do that? Like, is there any hesitancy there? Like that you'll...
No, I've thought about that a lot. But no, I don't think so. Usually when I'm looking for my behaviors and I'm trying to figure out if something is like maladaptive, usually what I'm thinking about is like, is there somebody that I would interact with in a different way if I didn't have like a particular feeling about how they might act or whatever? And I think the answer is generally no. Like there's not like people that it's like, I've never had a feeling where it's like, I wish I could talk about this with somebody, but I don't think I trust them. Or I wish I could open up about this, but I'm worried about getting judged or whatever. I never have feelings like that. But if I did have feelings like that, then I would be like, okay, fuck, maybe I am having trouble trusting people, or maybe there is something wrong with me like that,
Can you give me an example of a behavior you had that you realized was maladaptive through that thought process?
I don't think I have any maladaptive behaviors, okay?
Or had.
I don't think I had any had maladaptive behaviors. I don't know if I never know. I never identify as this. I'll just kind of allude to it because I really don't know, and it's kind of cringe to guess. But like, I might be a little bit autistic or a little bit in terms of like. Hold on, is my mic low? Are you trying to come here and trigger the fuck out of me?
Oh no, they're saying my mic.
Oh, okay. You can turn yours up by 5%.
Thanks.
Sorry. Oh my god, we just fought about audio shit in the morning. Maladaptive behaviors. The way that I emotionally process things is a lot different, I think, than how most people emotionally process things. That took me quite a while to figure out. Like in high school, I thought that was the case, and then I kind of thought, no, I'm probably just like second guessing myself, or I watch too much anime and I'm getting like cringe ideas of myself or something. And then through college, and then after college, I kind of think like, okay, actually, maybe I think I really do like I emotionally process things quite a bit different than other people. And in trying to figure out how other people emotionally process things, I think I was really manipulative in how I would approach people, like the things that I would say, the things that I would do. I think they crossed the line from just being like, oh, this is like an appropriate way to communicate with somebody versus this is what this person wants to hear for me to get this thing out of this person. So I would say that was probably not a good adaptation. And that's something that I've like worked on over time, where it's like, okay, well, I understand that like, a normal person, might process things like this. Like I need to try to like, communicate in a way that's respectful and responsible without being like manipulative or weird. But I'm always kind of trying to figure out where that line is. So, but I'm aware of it at least. Yeah.
Okay. So you feel like previously you might have had manipulative behavior. You went through that introspection process, and then you were like, okay, like I'm not going to try to communicate with people in a way of just trying to get what I want from them, right?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Okay, just making sure. I think that's pretty much it for now. I kind of want to talk to Lav and MrGirl in the future, but I don't know if that's a smart idea.
You
So
absolutely should try it, but make sure that you wear your extra strength armor on, okay? Because these are the Darvo masters, okay? You'll go into that conversation feeling perfect, and you'll come out thinking you're literally a fucking war criminal, okay? These people are exceptionally adept at navigating these types of conversations using those techniques, so. But it would be fun to watch. I mean, yeah.
oh, I also, so basically, my mom has a lot of those qualities. Like, she basically has NPD. So people like that trigger the fuck out of me. And that's why I'm interested in talking to them. Not to trigger myself, not to like try to, this isn't a weird form of self-harm. Or maybe it is. I don't know.
Sure, but it's a weird way for you to kind of see those symptoms existing in like a person that's not just like your mom, right? Because the similarities, whatever, probably be interesting, sure.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe I'll shoot you a message next time and see where that goes.
Okay, well, good luck.
Yeah, I hope you have a rest of a good day.
Yep, I love you, buddy. Be careful, okay?
Bye.